How's it going? My name is Captain John Enneking. I'm up in Lockwood Valley today. We're talking about hazard tree awareness and safety, as well as our evaluation and certification process through CICCS. Based on a NIFC case study on wildland firefighter fatalities, there have been almost 200 incidents recorded related to the injury or death from falling snags in the last 100 years. Consider the severity, probability, and exposure of hazard tree problems continually as you perform duties in forested areas. Remember to look up for hazard tree risks at staging areas, parking areas, and camping areas. Snags are not a seasonal hazard. These trees can be weakened or killed by fire, bugs, frost, and drought. So this is a hazard to keep in mind even during the colder seasons. Snags can fall over with no warning, and environmental factors like rain, wind, and fire can overwhelm trees rapidly. Environmental elements. Existing winds and forecast, night operations or low visibility, steep slopes, diseased or bug-killed areas, high density of dead or dying trees, number, density, and height, amount of time area has been burning, potential for domino effect. Hazard tree indicators. My goal here is to give everyone the tools they will need to be able to identify hazard trees in the field. When I approach a hazard tree, I'm looking for the species, the type of ground I'm on, if it's a dead tree or a live tree, if there's needles on it, are they dead needles, are they brown needles, are there no needles on it? I'm also looking at the bark. Is there bark still on it? That's a good indication of how long that tree's been dead. All these things are going to tell me the integrity of the wood of this tree, which is then going to be telling me how much more of a hazard this is or if it isn't, and how I'm going to cut the tree down. So the species is important because, an example, traditionally a lot of conifers, pines and firs, they'll die from the outside in. So you'll see the bark fall off as a dead tree well before the tree is ready to fall down. There's different ways that we can check the integrity of the wood once we get up to it, but just from an eye shot while we're sizing it up, like I mentioned before, we're looking for the needles, we're looking for the bark, we're looking for the branches that are left on it, and then we're looking on the ground below the tree, what's fallen on the ground from up above, right? If we've lost a bunch of big branches, we know that there could be some other widow makers that are ready to fall down. When you're putting your cuts in, it could cause a widow maker to come down on you without any warning, without any sound. So as I approach this tree, we're going to take this one for example as I size it up. It's a standing dead tree. It's lost all of its needles already. To me, that tells me that this tree's been dead for some time. As well as on the top, you can see that some of the branches have lost their bark. It's been several years that this thing's been dead. So a lot of these trees were burned from the day fire. So as we know, that was a 2006. So this thing's been standing as a dead tree potentially that long. So as I go around and look at all sides of the tree, looking up and down, I'm looking for widow makers. And I'm seeing this pretty large one right here that has fallen from this tree some time ago. These are all indications to me of how much a hazard this tree really is. I want to talk about this particular area, for example. If you can imagine there being some fire line somewhere in, we're going to put a proposed fire line in here and we're looking into this area. There's a bunch of standing dead trees here. So a lot of times we'll have the leeway of going direct or going indirect, and in doing so we'll be able to put a line in a safer area and mitigate that risk, right, of working in this snag patch area, especially if these things are involved with fire. So we're going to talk about identifying a hazard right in front of us here. So you can see how there's very few needles left on this tree, which means it's been dead for a while. We're also looking for any type of damage, missing tops, missing branches. Is this thing in close proximity to other dead trees, which is going to make it even more hazardous? Another one that's easily identifiable is one with a broken top. A tree that's been damaged by lightning, by another tree hitting it, those are always good indicators the tree's been damaged and the root system could have been messed up, where this tree could fall quicker or faster than it normally would. It's hard to identify how this tree's actually going to fall, but this tree caught my attention because it's missing a top, which means it doesn't have the weight on the top to then shift if you're going to fall the tree. So my taxes would have to change, meaning this is not going to be a normal operation for me, which creates a greater hazard. Trees burning for any period of time, high-risk species, numerous downed trees in the area, dead, broken, or burning tops, accumulation of downed limbs or bark, fungus, rot, and/or decay, cavities, woodpecker damage, cat-faced, fork tops, multi-tops, uneven branch distribution, absence of needles, barks, or limb, leaning trees or hang-ups. So as I approach this tree, you can see that it definitely is still a pine tree, but it's harder to identify it because this thing has lost all of its bark. This is what we call buckskin. Heavy leaning trees are even more of a hazard when they're dead, because obviously the weight shifted to one side, and that tree that is leaning is going to fall sooner than a tree that's, say, a standing dead that's straight up and down. So as you can see, this one right in front of me here, it's been dead for a while, but additionally it's leaning. Hazard tree control. Eliminate the hazard with qualified sawyers or heavy equipment. Avoid area. Establish no work zones. Use hazard or killer tree flagging. Mark GPS coordinates on map and relay info to FOBs and relief crews. Modify suppression tactics or fire line location to avoid extreme and fire risk areas. Fireproof potential hazard tree to prevent ignition. Initiate road and traffic control and/or area closures. Establish trigger points for reposition to secure areas in response to high winds. Minimize exposure time in hazard tree areas using efficient felling techniques and limiting numbers of personnel in hazardous areas. Faller qualification process. Successful completion of Chainsaw S212 class. Submit faller trainee request via CICCS application, blank taskbook, copy of S212 cert,
and all other wildland certs. Obtain faller trainee status and task book initiated by wildland coordinator. Successfully complete all specific tasks in task book and be evaluated by a VNC faller evaluator. Submit faller qualification request via CICCS application, completed task book with evaluations, copy of S212 cert, and all other wildland certs. Obtain CICCS faller qualification. Maintain qualification with 3 tree evaluations every 3 years. Keep in mind, if you do not maintain your faller qualification, you will lose it and need to start the process over. If you need initial evaluations or re-evaluations, please contact myself or any of the other VNC faller evaluators, including Mike Tagium, David Cabrito, Chris Ford, and Jimmy Hidalgo. Just like anything, you need to keep your skills sharp and qualifications current.
I want to thank you for watching this video today. My goal overall was to have everybody now have a better awareness and understanding of working around and underneath hazardous trees.